Ethereum is starting to break through this resistance level. And once we are going to do so, I do think we are going to see an absolutely insane altcoin season, an absolutely insane bull market. Because yes, Ethereum has been pumping to the upside and we need to discuss exactly that within today's update video. But first of all guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive in towards the most important content. And normally I start the videos with Bitcoin, but now I want to start with Ethereum because what we are seeing now is absolutely massive. Ethereum is starting to break through this resistance level, and this is a resistance we have been building for over 4 years almost. So that is looking insane, and I do think once Ethereum is going to break through this exact level, we are going to see a major push higher towards that range high level of $4,000. And if Ethereum is going to break that range high level, so that $4,000, we are probably going to shoot even higher from there through those previous all-time highs of 2021. So that is looking absolutely insane for Ethereum. Also, Ethereum versus Bitcoin is starting to coil up again here. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is once again creating a symmetrical triangle here. After we first of all saw this descending triangle breaking out, now we are seeing a symmetrical triangle being formed once again here. And I do think Ethereum versus Bitcoin is gearing up for another big push higher, and that would of course be extremely bullish once again here, because as long as Ethereum versus Bitcoin keeps trending higher and higher, it's going to be super bullish for both Ethereum of course, but also for altcoins. And now we are nearing this conservative case, which is one of my most important price targets for Ethereum, and I have been discussing this a lot on the channel. I was talking about these targets at these ultimate lows for Ethereum, at this range low retest, and nobody was willing to listen. And now people start to call me crazy because this is my conservative case and I will be taking most of my profits at $4,000. And yes, I do think Ethereum could be shooting much higher, but if you are looking realistic to the chart, I do know that probably at that $4,000 and also right now we are facing some big resistance. So yes, Ethereum could be breaking through. I do think there's actually a high likelihood of that happening here, but yeah, because I've been accumulating all the way down here on this ultimate low range low retest, for me that $4,000 is going to be an absolutely insane price target. And guys, if you don't want to be missing out once again on all of these trades we have been making, make sure you check out Bitunix, because right now you can claim some absolutely insane deposit bonuses on Bitunix. You can claim over $400 of deposit bonuses and of just beginner bonuses on this platform. In my opinion, this is one of the most beginner friendly platforms, so definitely if you're starting with trading Bitcoin and crypto now, Bitcoin, crypto, altcoins, everything can be traded on there. You can even take spot positions. Make sure to check Bitunix out, because I do think it's currently the best platform out there to do so. And guys, then let's discuss this Ethereum chart a little bit more deeply. Because yes, that $4,000 conservative case is coming very close, and just like I said earlier, that's going to be the moment where I will be taking a lot of profits on my spot Ethereum mostly. But I do think, for example, if we are truly going to break that $4,000 level, so break through one of the most important resistance, and then afterwards we could, for example, be pushing through those new all-time highs, I do think that could be an insane moment to, for example, add more to an Ethereum spot position on somewhat of leverage. But I do think right now, because we are facing such important resistance levels now, two resist levels kind of shortly after each other, I do think this is not going to be the moment to be heavily betting on an Ethereum leverage position here. I do think there will be more opportunities once Ethereum is truly going to break towards that range high and through that range high. But like discussed, I will be taking a lot of my spot profits on this conservative case target. And if you're a little bit more bullish on Ethereum, you could of course be looking at this bull case level, which is basically the second Fibonacci level here of over $6,000. And yes, I do think something like this could completely be happening this bull market, because once we're going to break through the previous all-time high for Ethereum, which is getting close actually, then we could be shooting much higher, of course, into watch price discovery. So let's see about that, but I'm definitely quite excited about Ethereum there. And then let's discuss the latest news hitting the market before we take a very short dive in towards Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance for altcoins. The latest news here is that Jerome Powell will be speaking tomorrow after there are a lot of rumors about his resignation. So let's see about exactly that. Maybe he could be mentioning something about it tomorrow, so let's see. It is definitely going to be once again a very important speech for the markets in my opinion. On the Google Trends, we can see that the search interest for altcoins just made a 5-yearly high. So that is absolutely insane. It seems like retail is returning here, and I also see it on my X page, for example, with the engagement I'm currently getting. I do think, yes, retail is slowly returning in the markets here. And we should also be a little bit cautious of this, because normally once retail returns in the market, those are the moments where we see the tops getting formed for crypto. So let's see about it. But now we can see that search interest is absolutely exploding here. And that is actually quite insane. It's also higher than that November altcoin rally to the upside right now. So that is looking quite interesting. And then let's take a quick dive in towards Bitcoin before we dive in towards the Bitcoin dominance. Because yeah, Bitcoin is basically doing absolutely nothing. Now it's breaking a little bit to the upside, and I do think it could be breaking a little bit more, maybe even towards the previous all-time high there. But basically Bitcoin is just consolidating, and I do think this is going to, and I do think that is super bullish for altcoins actually, because Bitcoin consolidating here gives Ethereum the chance to be moving higher against Bitcoin. That's why that Ethereum versus Bitcoin ratio has been moving up quite aggressively lately. And I do think once Bitcoin is going to break out from here, for example, that is not really something you are willing to see for altcoins now, because that would mean that Bitcoin versus Ethereum is going to take a move lower maybe. It's all going to depend on Ethereum's price action there. But I do think for altcoins it would be better if Bitcoin keeps consolidating here in this range basically. So maybe we could see a little bit of a breakout out of this ascending triangle, rejection, and then just some consolidation. I do think that could be highly bullish for altcoins there. But I must say, I do still think that Bitcoin is about to initiate one last move higher this bull market, probably topping out between 130 and 150,000 US dollars. Of course, it's going to be super hard to be exact with that Bitcoin price prediction, but I definitely do think there is one big move higher still in the tank for Bitcoin, and that means yes, Bitcoin could still be breaking out any moment basically. But yeah, let's see about that. It's the end part of the cycle, so we could still see some very aggressive moves for Bitcoin also there. And this week, something very important is once again going to happen, and that is that we are going to see more ETF flows in towards Ethereum. And we do know that BlackRock did buy almost $2 billion US worth of Ethereum last week. So let's see about this week. I do think maybe they will be buying even more, and then Ethereum is just going to smash through all those resistance levels we have been talking about this video. So let's see about those ETF flows. I do think that's going to be super important once again. And of course, we do know that the altcoin season index is absolutely exploding to the top side. We aren't in an altcoin season yet on the daily perspective, and definitely if you're going to look at it yearly perspective, we aren't even close to an altcoin season like 2021 and 2017 yet. So there's still a lot of potential, and I do think there's still a lot of money to be made within the market here. So guys, just one reminder once again, if you want to do so, make sure you do it on Bitunix, because here you can make some absolutely insane amounts of money by trading Bitcoin and altcoins, of course. So guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and I will see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.